Hello, English winners. Today we're going to learn how to pronounce the T sound like tear and the D sound like dream. It is winter already. It's cold outside and it's cold inside too. So for this video and some future videos, I'm going to be wearing warmer things like this sweater, if you'll excuse me. So T and D sounds. To understand those, I need to explain something called aspirated and non-aspirated consonants. That's just a fancy way of saying that some consonants are going to have an explosion of air, like instead of I'll hear t, like telephone and attack. Those are T sounds that English speakers will use a puff of air on. And with the T sounds, you'll hear the aspirated consonant a lot when the T is in the beginning of the word and in the middle of the word. Now, Russians watching this video will tend to have a softer T sound. Instead of that puff of air like telephone and attack, it will sound more like telephone and attack. And Spanish speakers tend to have the same thing. It'll sound like the T sound is held back just a little bit and then released with less power in a non-aspirated way. So instead of telephone and attack, a Spanish speaker might say teléfono and attack. And that happens when the tongue is in front of the ridge of the mouth, behind your upper front teeth, where English speakers, the tongue will touch the tip of the ridge behind the upper front teeth, like telephone, attack. So the tongue goes just a little bit forward if you're speaking Spanish. Spanish speakers, if you want more examples of how to differentiate between the T aspirated and then the Spanish T, look at the example of the song Don't Cry for Me, Argentina. I'll put a link to two videos. One is Nicole Scherzinger singing Don't Cry for Me, Argentina, with a Spanish accent when she says the words Argentina. And then another video, I'll have Madonna singing the same song, and she'll use an American pronunciation. So instead of Argentina, it'll be Argentina. That way you can hear the difference between American T and Spanish T. This will also help Russian speakers. The T sound is pronounced very easily. The tip of your tongue touches the ridge that's just behind the upper front teeth, right back here. First step, your tongue touches the ridge, and then the second part, the tongue goes down to allow air to go out of your mouth. T, t, t. Then the D sound is exactly the same. Now there might be a little less air coming out, like instead of t, it'll be t, but there's going to be vibration in the vocal cords. And so I want you to imagine a spiritual guru closing his mouth, going and allowing the sounds to go through the nose. All right, so we're going to use that sound to pronounce the D by applying to the T sound. D. You hear the vocal cords? D. Now, when you're pronouncing it like a regular English speaker, it'll flow more naturally. You don't need to turn this on first and then say the sound. You can just turn it on and say the sound at the same time. D, D, D. All right. We're also going to go over some words that will help you get better at pronouncing the T and the D sounds. Let's go to the words. So here's the plan. We're going to go over these words. I'll read one side, and I'll read the other side, and then we'll go back and forth through each section, and you'll get all the practice you need, okay? Let's begin. Toe, tear, town, tomb. Over to the D words. Dough, dare, down, doom. Okay? Let's go back and forth now, all right? Toe, dough. Tear, dare. Town, down. Tomb, doom. Here's a teaching moment for you. Some words that end with D and T are a little bit harder to understand when you're listening because you don't hear that aspirated consonant, like town. Instead, you're going to hear something that's a little bit softer. We're going to have a soft landing on these words, like the word oat. When you're hearing the word oat connected to other words, you might hear it sound like this, oat. You notice that there's no t sound at the end. So I want you to practice listening to that, and we're going to go over a small list of words to help you get used to hearing the T and the D sounds at the end of words. Let's throw them up on the board and get started. Here they are. Let's go over them together. And at this time, I will pronounce the words as if I were using them in a sentence and the words were just flowing one to the next, okay? Tight, died, oat, owed, float, flowed. Okay, now we're going to use these words in sentences so you can get better at using them in your everyday speech. Sentence time. I dare you to draw a picture of 10 people on a tightrope. The train became a tomb as it went over the bridge. Down on the floor, an oat pressed into the tip of my toenail. Some people hunt elephants for their tusks, then sell them downtown. I would be vegan, but fried chicken is too delicious. That's it for this video. If you liked this one, be sure to check out some of the other videos I have on this playlist to help you improve your pronunciation more. I'll also include links in the descriptions and possibly on this video card showing the 2 songs where you could see the Spanish pronunciation of T and the English pronunciation of T. So you can check those out. If you liked this video, please subscribe, like, and share it with your English learning friends, co-workers, and fellow students. So that way we can all win at English together.